Ever seen Guitar Hero listed at the title? Use Boost Game Pass? Yeah, I've got thoughts on that. We talked about it for about an hour the other day, but here's what I'll say. Guitar Hero coming back would be everything to me. But unfortunately, there's a lot of cats who have mostly played Clone Hero and were not around for the for how things used to be. And with how things are now, it's very different. And a lot of the things that used to be done probably aren't going to work nowadays. And that's going to be contentious for a lot of people. Are you... The idea is 2x5 fret? Yeah, no. That's one of the things I've seen a lot of people saying, like, you know, oh, do you like 6 fret but with 5, and or do a 6th fret at the very end of a 5 fret. And while I think that is exciting, no, bad camera. If Guitar Hero wants any kind of chance of surviving, I say this as somebody who has, I don't know at this point, easily over 10,000 hours in Guitar Hero, probably over 20,000. Oh no, that's not right. How many hours is 10,000? Like, I think 10,000 hours is a year. 8 hours a day for 1 year and 4 months is 460. Yeah, no, okay. So as somebody who easily has over 20,000 hours in these games, easily, you might even put it at 30,000. Like, that would easily be over 3 years worth of individual time. That's probably somewhere close to around, like, in between 20 and 30,000 hours. And as somebody who bought all the DLC as it came out, full price, I can tell you that if you are not a fan of battle passes or those kind of like XP systems, you know, where they have like a daily and a weekly and, you know, a season, you know, kind of check-in goals and that kind of stuff, that's probably what this is going to be. And originally in my mind's eye, right, I had it as a completely, you know, games as a service, songs would be online like GHTV, but the more I thought about it, I was kind of like, I don't think so, especially because that's probably one of the reasons why things didn't work the first time. So what they would need, the more I think about it, is probably a hybrid system, right? Like have songs that are tied specifically to like a premium pass or a battle pass, you know, for a season, right? You have access to certain songs that maybe licensing wise cost too much to license for individual purchase, like traditional DLC. Maybe it's too much, but they were able to get it at a cheaper price, but like it's Zeppelin, Metallica, like shit that costs a lot of money. So that way you can still play it. There's still a leaderboard and they have access to it for a certain amount of time, but it cycles, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go with a game of GH. No, it will go perfect, because that's another thing. Nowadays, everybody has the attention span of a tick. What is it I learned in school? In the age of TikTok and everything, and YouTube Shorts and Instagram and doom scrolling, if you want to grab somebody, if you want to hook somebody, you have to hook them within 10 seconds. 10 seconds. It's ridiculous. And you have to find a way that can appeal to that. Imagine if they brought in Wave Group in order to cut costs again. You can't do that. It's not, the age of using covers is done. At that point, how would you word this? Why would somebody want to play a cover in Guitar Hero when they could just listen to the actual thing on Spotify? You know what I mean? And I know that's a weird comparison, because one's a game, another one's just listening to it, right? But part of Guitar Hero and Rock Band for a lot of people is the music. They don't necessarily just play it to hit the buttons. They play it with their friends to have fun and listen to the music and share that experience. So I don't think Wave Group's an option. Certain covers are more banging. I mean, sometimes, right? But if it does covers, it would immediately be seen as inferior to Rock Band 4, which came out. What was Rivals? The last release they did. Rivals was 2016 or so. It'll be seen as inferior to that. And why would you put out an inferior product? It's like, oh, Rock Band can get the real songs. Why can't you? You know? And the argument could be, well, those instruments don't exist. Like, yeah, you're right. But at that point, people will just listen to it or something. Like the YYZ cover is very good. Some of the Rock Band 4 DLC songs did use live recording instead of studio recordings on some songs like Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. Yeah, they got the Monsters of Rock version, right? From the Russia concert, though it was the version that was in Smash Hits. So I mean, they can, right? But here's the math I did. If you have a team of 50 people solely working, like just from a cost standpoint, 50 people based on the salaries I saw, it's like between 1.6 and it's like 1.5 or 1.6 and 3.8 million dollars a year just for employment, right? And then you have to put in the cost of licensing music. Luke, I think, do you have any insight on that or familiar? I know you work with music. But from what I gather, it seems probably like the cost of licensing a song is going to cost between, for what they want, between the realm of $10,000 to $100,000. Licensing is same expensive? Yeah, exactly. Like Shreej, I forget, are you a wrestling fan? Because Bryan Danielson in AEW, right? Daniel Bryan, however you know him, if you know him. He came out to the Final Countdown by Europe way back when. And they wanted to get the rights for a big event, but I think they said the cost for Final Countdown, one time only, would cost the same as a wrestler's contract, and that's generally between the range of $60,000 to $150,000. That's for a one-time play and a live event for a recording. All these things matter, right? And that would also include playability on replays. And then the lead singer or whoever sold the rights to somewhere, and then they were able to get it and use it for cheaper. So that's another thing. You want this to be Guitar Hero? You want it to be Guitar Hero. You want the songs that make it Guitar Hero, as well as including modern songs. Motherfucker, that's probably gonna cost what? That'll probably bump it up, because even then, like 150 is on the low end. I mean, you figure something like Metallica, you're probably paying $500,000, maybe. I don't know, because they own their stuff. That's another thing. You have bands now that own their own shit, their own catalog. They can charge whatever they want. So, like, if you want a decent soundtrack, you're probably going to be looking. Let's see, probably, what was Guitar Hero 3? Did they have 50 songs on the main set list for the career? So I guess just take just take that and times it by 100K. So let's just say 45. That's what, $4.5 million. Now that's on the assumption that it's a contract that could be used once. Now you have to bring in licensing for retail sale, for commercial use. There's probably a video game licensing deal that has to go into that, as well as it has to be in perpetuity, so it can be used for the game as long as it's in production. For all that, like it's a whole nother thing. For legacy songs included, you're looking at 10-15 million royalties alone. Fuck you. Oh wow, let them write some reproduction costs. Exactly. Like, I have a faint understanding of how this works, but yeah, like Shreej, I wonder what costs more, Metallica and Beatles. Oh, Beatles. Oh, fucking Beatles. Unless they got some mega deal with George Harris's son, like, oh, you would have to think the Beatles, like, because Here's another thing with licensing. It's also, not only are they getting the songs, they're also getting the live versions of songs. They're reproducing the choreography of the moments that happen in all of those events. So they have to probably pay licensing fees and get the rights for the footage they use to motion capture that, to use that kind of movement, right? So like that's the other thing, like that's one thing. Every single thing that goes into a game like that, you have licensing fees, reproduction fees, you have usage rights for multiple venues you have to go through. And like, yeah, like Metallica, Maiden, Motorhead, Van Halen, Fortnite, like fucking Christ, man. So I need to sit down with my thoughts and like make a video, because I see these things and I love the excitement. And I've only seen like text. I haven't heard what they said, but I see Asai. He's like, you know, what do y'all want out of it? Jason's like, oh, this could be cool. And I see things that people want. And I'm just like, that's not going to happen. I hate to break it to you. Like, it's like, oh, traditional DLC only. Like, oh, that's like, adds a part. Oh, fuck yeah. Like, I would assume a game like Guitar Hero, just on the dev side, because what is it? The Last of Us Part 2 took $200 million to make, right? There's no way in fucking hell Microsoft would allow that much money to be used for a modern Guitar Hero, unless it was like a guaranteed success. Now, I will say, over the years, big in Japan, let's do that. Sorry, I'm going every which way. In terms of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? Visibility, or what I've seen over the years, like on Reddit, there is a want for Guitar Hero, specifically Guitar Hero 3, right? Like there have been multiple times over the years, I've seen many posts on Reddit from like the games Reddit, like big Reddits, not like Clone Hero or Guitar Hero Reddit or Rock Band Reddit, none of that. Big Reddits where Guitar Hero posts like, hey, this should come back, or hey, do you remember this? And it has thousands, and I swear in one instance I saw tens of thousands of upvotes and people commenting, like not 10,000 comments, but you know, a lot of people were commenting like, yeah, this would be cool, hey, this would be rad. Like there is a want. And as well, one of the developers for Clone Hero, I don't remember their name, but I have it screenshotted. They said the other day that Clone Hero has a monthly active user base of 250,000 players. If there is 250,000 people playing Clone Hero, motherfucker, there is a chance to strike with lightning, but it is going to be such a delicate situation. They have to get it right. They have to be able to recreate in some way what made the old games awesome. You know, what made people love them as a part. That's why Harmonix had to use individual export licenses. Yeah. I mean, that's the same with Guitar Hero, right? Like with World Tour 5, Band Hero, stuff like that. Is that what you meant? Or am I misremembering that? And that, hell, man, speaking of that, the old DLC is probably not going to be a thing. This is not a Rock Band 4 situation, right? Would I love it if all of my Guitar Hero DLC that I spent thousands of dollars on over the period of time where it was, you know, it existed? Fuck yeah! I have all those songs ready to go. There's no way it's going to happen unless they bring in some folks that worked at Harmonix and they know exactly how that system works. But then again, they would need people on the legal side, on the like, I guess, music industry side to get some favors put in or what have you. Like, yeah, I wonder how Yarg's player base compares to Clone here. It's probably minimal, but that's only because there's not circles, and that's another thing. People like circles, right? And for me, I'm a Guitar Hero guy through and through. I do find Yarg or the Rock Band gems easier to read. Don't know why. I prefer to play Guitar Hero, but it's Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero 3 is one of the most sold video games of all time. And when it comes to Rock Band, I don't think it's even close. Like, nowhere close. Like, I think Guitar Hero 3 hit like 75 million or close to 100. It was up there. That's why, hold on, here we go. Is that a red light? Here, let me stay at the red light. There you go. The individual export license was Rock Band 1 to 2, 2 to 3, but not Rock Band 1 to 3. Got you. So it was from each game to each game. Makes sense. Okay, so I guess in that sense, when the Rock Band 1 to 2, and then the export to Rock Band 2, technically, I guess, included the licensing for the Rock Band 1 exports? Or just an overall export? Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. But I would say Yarg is minimal. It's growing. In terms of Yarg, it has the potential to, like I've said, to be the one in terms of like customs, I guess. But here's the thing, and here's the other part. If Guitar Hero happens, right? Clone Hero would almost certainly be shut down. Because Clone Hero in itself is a giant copyright infringement machine. It is. Due to the fact that it uses ripped assets, it probably uses ripped code. Like they would have to completely remake it from scratch for it to have a chance to not get fucked. Yarg played it safe. They made everything from scratch. There's nothing used. The assets are made on their own, and that gives them.
Think it'll take the load? Okay.
And it has a chance to avoid that. But even then, I believe Harmonix and Activision, and somehow is a piece of the puzzle, own patents to the gameplay system for these games. So if they wanted to, they could take down all of it, right? No, certain songs would transfer due to the rights issues. No, gotcha. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, yes, I understand that. Yeah. So like in Rock Band 1, why Enter Sandman didn't carry over to 2. So that like they paid a bulk licensing fee for everything, and then the parties that did not agree to it, those songs did not export. Yeah. Google Docs, the color scheme, and button rig are also owned. Yep. Like I've only done a little bit of insight into that for a school project. Yeah, like so if Guitar Hero becomes a thing, it is going to be very, very bad for Clone Hero if they choose to go that route. Right? I honestly don't know if they would. That's the only thing. Like, I have no hard thought on that, right? GH is airtight and God bless the fort, right? So gameplay. If they want Guitar Hero to have a chance in a post Clone Hero world, in a post Rock Band world, right? It needs to do what people want. And in terms of gameplay, in terms of modes, over the years, keeping an eye on things, and from what I remember managing GameStop, working at GameStop, that was 2017 to 2020, people want just guitar, right? Yeah, people want a return to form. So that means just guitars. And on the other side of that, you know what else is a good thing about that? It's not going to cost as much to produce instruments, because the other thing, any mode, and I'll argue this with anybody, any mode that is included with this game must have instruments made with it in order to sell with the game. Because here's the thing, somebody brought up, you know, why don't they just, you know, it was like, because I said guitar and microphone only, because I mean, who doesn't have a fucking Logitech microphone? Or you could just use your gaming microphone, right? And the argument was, it's like, no bass, no drums. It's like, for drums, why not include drums? Like, people can hook up their e-kits and use their old instruments, and I'm just like, at most, in terms of people who have those kits and are still playing, you're probably looking at less than 5,000, and I am being very, very, very generous. I am being so generous with that number. And if you include people who play Rock Band, that's still 5,000 on the highest, right? Like, it's not needed, and there's other options. You have Yard, you have Clone Hero. You don't like any of those? Go find fucking, you can get a copy of Phase Shift somewhere. You can do True Drums, right? There are options. There's the deluxe games. There's, you know, all that. There's so many options. Right, it's more niche guitar. Exactly. Plus, you know who's gonna have a guitar? I would almost bet, you ready for this? I would almost give money to say that for every one drum set that exists, there's probably 5 guitars. Easily. Like, not even a game. Hell, there might even be 10 guitars. There might even be 10 guitars per one drum set. And at the most, right? Oh, here we go, Luke. They might as well include a Parappa the Rappa mode if they include all of the instruments. And that's the other thing, man. Think about it. You have Xbox, right? What did Harmonix make for Xbox, right? They made the Legacy adapter. You know, I'm assuming to be able to make that adapter, because I don't think they made them for PS4, did they? Like, PS4 just connected to Bluetooth PS3 with the dongle? Is that what it was? I'm not sure. If you know, let me know. Well, the Xbox, they had that box, the adapter. I'm assuming there was some patent agreement or licensing to use the technology to connect the guitars that Harmonix had to pay for. Well, if the technology already exists and you gave usage rights to do that, and you can still reach out to that company, I would wager that you might have an easy hookup for cheap tech, right?
Oh shit.
With Microsoft working with Harmonix for the legacy adapter for Rock Band 4, I'd almost bet money that they'll be able to get that done fairly cheap. So they have an avenue there. What is the thing I was going to talk about next? Okay, so Xbox adapter, we got that. Obviously, another thing that they could bring back is gamepad mode, which I know I've seen a lot of people discuss. They either couldn't do it or that's the only way they played, and that could be good. But guitar only is what you're going to be looking at. At the most, you'll see bass, you'll see rhythm guitar along with guitar, like specifically Guitar Hero 3 styles. Guitar is all you're gonna see, and that's how it should be. Bass, you know, you gotta bring it back to basics. And while I say vocals, I almost would say no vocals. Don't do vocals. Just keep it guitar and keep it slick, right? Compatibility for songs that have all 3, lead, rhythm, and bass. That's the trade-off I would say, right? Is like, do all 3. Like at most, that's what I could see them doing. Is doing all 3, so that way you could do up to 3 players, which would be kind of cool, right? like have the trade-off. You're not doing vocals, you're not doing drums, right? But you can do up to 3 guitars, and that would be dope as shit. Because I believe those 360 adapters, you can connect up to 4 controllers for the instruments. So yeah, do that. It'd be good. You can do 3 players, and then you know what? Maybe fuck it. Maybe do vocals somehow. I don't know. But then again, we also, Luke, you know this. We know this, that you also have to pay licensing for using the lyrics. Because that's their own thing, right? Unless I'm mistaken. I believe that's right. Like if you go somewhere, you want to use somebody's song for a cover, you pay certain, you get a certain licensing for that. If it's a live performance, you get a license for the recording and the live performance. If you want to put the lyrics somewhere, you have to pay licensing for lyrics. Fortunately, yeah. Like, that's the other thing. Anything that keeps the cost down, the better. And then maybe, and this is a big fat maybe, in the future, super dead. Maybe in the future, if it sells well, they could add, you know, fucking drums or something, right? But at launch, it should not be a priority in any way, shape, or form. Oh, missed that one. Luke, Rock Band is a great party game, but no one ever wants to play drums, right? Because it takes a lot. It's very it is very physically required. It's physical compared to playing the guitar. It requires a lot of physical movement. That's right. It becomes a problem inside later, though. Yeah, that's also true. That would be a good. Now hold on. That would be a good point in terms of sales, right? Remember Street Fighter way back when? It'd give an opportunity to re-release the disc, right? With drums. But then you get into the problem of, you know, what do you want to call it? You get into the problem of having more editions and all that kind of stuff. Which, yeah, that's right. But if you do it right, it could. There's a chance. But that is just at the very top of trying to appease people who want drums. I do not. As a person who enjoys drumming and is a drummer and was known for drumming back in the day, no, I don't want drums. Just give me guitars. But yeah, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, and bass. These should be the only ones. Let's see what else we could do. But back on Guitar Hero. So guitars only, lead, rhythm, bass at the very most, with just guitar on its own. I would think, like, the more I think on it, it would have to be guitar, rhythm, and then bass. Like, it almost have to be like recreate as much of Guitar Hero 3 as possible. Number 2. Songs, talked on it already. More think about it, there needs to be a mix between traditional DLC and what GHTV was doing, right? Just cycling songs. Don't know how, don't know when, don't know where, don't know why, but it needs to be a mix. And the majority of it has to be downloadable. I've changed my stance on that from what I said the other day, or what I put on Twitter. Most of it needs to be downloadable, because that goes into point number 2. Tournaments online. You have to have good online. You have to have rotating events to keep competitive gameplay going, because that is what's going to keep the game alive. If not for the local kind of tournaments, like those can happen any which way. They got to keep people engaged online. So a battle pass and an XP system with unlocks and daily challenges and weekly challenges, it's not enough. You need to have weekend events where it's like go into ranked and beat 5 people for this, that, and the other thing. Get this, you know, FC this song, you know. And then I don't know, you get special badges. Like each month there's a competitive challenge, you know what I mean? So something like that to keep people engaged, because in terms of like locals, there's plenty of people that can make that happen. Like there's no problem. Then of course, whoever's doing community outreach management, marketing, that kind of stuff, needs to be somebody who can connect with people on a local level to ensure that sponsored events are happening, which is why I would like to be involved. Where am I? Where am I? What is this? Hello? What is this? Oh, I was already here. Whoops. Gotta have somebody who's in touch with the community. Have to. If not working for them, which I would love to, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if anybody is watching this somehow, some way that can make that happen, I could be an invaluable resource. But just as well, they have to have a connection with people to make sure things happen, because with Warriors of Rock and 5, the GHCom community nights that they did every week were super great. Super great indeed. Hold on, I missed some shit, Luke. Sorry. We could wax philosophical on GH for Days King. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Also, more things unlocked by playing. Yes. So that goes into the XP and leveling system. So I don't know how familiar you are with things like that nowadays. Yeah, these days. But the best example I have, and this is a terrible example, but just go with me, was Marvel's Avengers. I haven't really, I know there are plenty of other games that have better systems, but that's what I remember, is where you play it and each character has their own battle pass. Not a paid one, mind you. I don't know what to call it, but just an unlocked system where it's like you level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, yada yada, up to like level 50 or whatever, and each level you unlock something, whether it was a new outfit or a sticker or a player card or in-game currency that you could use for specific things, right? I think you could use it in the shop to get more like premium items. I think, I can't remember, but on top of that you also had the premium one, the one that you would buy, and then if like say you played the game and leveled up to level 10, once you bought that premium pass, everything up to level 10 would then unlock because you've already done that work. Having that kind of system for guitars, for costume, like full body costumes, pants, shirts, accessories, hairstyles per character, mind you. I think that'd be really, really cool. Gauntlet Dark Legacy, that's all I have to say about that reference. Woo! Over my head. But more or less that's what I mean, right? Has one of the best leveling systems of old. But essentially that's like in a modern age, that's what people are familiar with, and that's what more or less works. I think I wish I had a better understanding and was more familiar with modern Call of Duties, because I think matching that could do well to keep engagement high. That or a Fortnite, like look at the games that work, but then apply it in a way that makes sense. It seems like a lot of places that fail on this games as a service front are just looking at it and trying to copy paste it, but it doesn't work for what their game is. You know what I mean? So it's like too many people are trying to copy and not find their own success with, you know what I mean? Charting. Charting in terms of the Guitar Hero. So this is gonna piss some people off, but here's what needs to happen. in order to reach the millions of people required in order to make this game a success, it's gonna have to be familiar. But there is room to add things that have been discovered through Clone Hero, right? And things of that nature. So let's talk to this guy. After I don't know. Yes, defines good chart from Guitar Hero 1 to now. Right. So I guess charting isn't the right word, gameplay is. Okay, so how do we make charting, or not charting? That's not the right fucking word. Gameplay. How do we make the gameplay work in a modern Guitar Hero in a post-Clone Hero era? Easy. Expert Plus. It's something I've said a million times before, and it's something I'll keep saying, is that make an Expert Plus. Make that where you include your open notes, your reverse sentence sustain. You know what I mean, like stuff like that. Expert Plus boss battle. Yeah, like you have, if they bring everything back, right? You have beginner, easy, medium, hard, expert, and then make the last one like God of Rock difficulty or something, right? Lean into the gimmick. You think you got your tough shit? Can you beat it on God of Rock or legendary mode, right? Something like that. And here's what you do. You ready for it? On God of Rock mode or legendary difficulty, whatever you want to call it, no hammer-ons. How do you make hard songs even harder? Like on expert, it's normal, you have tap notes, yada yada. Legendary, motherfucker, you down? No tap notes, hammer-ons. Include your open notes. Reverse extended sustains. Whatever the fuck else there's called, right? Like, and make it a mode where you can't strum hammer-ons. And make it a mode where you can't, like, make it no ghosting, right? Like if you hammer on like so many frames before the note comes, it drops. Into which you can, if you drop a combo, you can strum a hammer on, just like how that mode works in general, right? Like, yeah, was in for a reason. Exactly. Like, people, it seems like a lot of people nowadays weren't around for Guitar Hero 3. It seems like they didn't play until Warriors of Rock came out and they had a Wii that you know, they have a copy of Guitar Hero 3 on, or their family got them a Wii like after it was out for a long time, and they played it, and that's where they kind of got hooked up. Do the Fire and Flames was a fucking pop culture phenomenon with Guitar Hero 3. Like, both of them together was such a big thing. Strum Tech is not gonna bring a million people in. Nobody's gonna wanna be like, oh shit, Lord of Shore, fucking brrr, can you do it? That's not Through the Fire and Flames worthy. Stuff like, fuck, what are they called? I want to, like Megalodon, stuff like that. Those are super fucking impressive, but you need to attract people. The normies, regular ass, work-a-day, hard-working Joes, you gotta entice them to come in. And if they see shit like that, they're like, I can't do that, I'm not gonna buy it. You gotta keep that shit far away from the main set list. But what can you do? Maybe they make the system in a way that's something like a Polyphia, right? Where it's not necessarily like solos and shit, but it is hard in a different kind of way, you know what I mean? There could be opportunities for that. Rock Band 2 did that with random song challenges. Don't use overdrive, you get a bonus. Yeah, like that's another good one. Like Rock Band 3 and their you know what I mean? Like the in-game achievements, not necessarily Xbox achievements, but like the challenges. You know, play. You know, get 90% or more on like 6 or 16 fucking songs or something. You know what I mean? On expert keys. Like so, like those. That's another great thing, right? Like have those be like monthly cyclable challenges that you do. And if you do it weekly, I don't know, it might be too much, but I don't know. There are people who have jobs who have been working at companies for long enough that have data that I couldn't even dream to have right now. But like there is There's an opportunity there, but that's the only way modern charting or modern gameplay is going to happen. It has to be a different mode, and it needs to be labeled as something more than expert, because expert needs to be what people remember. It has to be. You don't change the fucking formula, because guess what game did that last? Guitar Hero Live. And how fucking well did that do? Not at all. And I love 6 Fret, goddammit. Yeah. You don't get penalized for not doing that. Exactly. You're not forced to do it. And that's something that people, that leads to another thing. I see a lot of people saying like, you know, in terms of charting, I really hope they like, you know, they do like modern stuff, or they hire us, you know, to do the charts. And I'm just like, motherfucker, maybe if they introduce some Rocksmith Plus system, but I'll tell you what, daddy, you're not going to be charting stuff that you want to chart. You're going to be charting cheap to license indie pop songs, indie rock songs. You ain't going to be charting fucking Periphery and Polyphia and Lord of Shore and fucking Amon Amarth and Ghost and stuff like that, right? Like, I see people be excited about the idea of that, and I'm just like, let's set these expectations straight right now. You know who's going to be charting those songs? The people who are being paid about $75,000 to $100,000 a year. I do think that would be cool if there was some kind of way to include community charting, but I doubt it. And that leads into my next point. You ready for this? If anybody is hoping for Guitar Hero on PC, you are fucking high. There is no way in fucking hell. In a post-Clone Hero world, I think they would let Guitar Hero get on anywhere near PC. If there was any game that was built to drive console sales in an era where Microsoft, quote, that's not the business they're in, Guitar Hero is that game. Yeah. No, let's not get crazy. No, I'm gonna hit you with the facts. Like, maybe if it's successful, right? GH2 was on PC. Yeah, so was GH3 and Aerosmith and World Tour. And then none of them after that were. Now, with Game Pass, could it happen? Maybe. But it would have to be in a way where it couldn't be modded, right? But even then, it would just get downloaded, modded, and all that kind of stuff. So, well, I don't know. Would I like to see Clone Hero on PC? Fuck yeah. Yeah, because the last one, remember? That's, yeah, another one. And then they have to deal with all that fucking, that Taylor Swift No Doubt bullshit. Remember that? Because they were used on different songs. If there's avatars, which I believe there should be, I'll get into that again. And there's any kind of modding available, I would assume that they would be liable. There'd be liability for that, and I would assume that they would want to prevent it having to be liable for anything like that they can't control, more or less. And the only way, well, they can. The only way to control it is to not put it on PC. It's all very sticky. There's a lot of things that I might be overthinking because I don't know enough. Like maybe they do it on PC. Maybe licensing labels won't be super into trying to track down everything, this, that, and the other thing. I'm just driving now. I hope that's okay with y'all. I need to get these thoughts out. So you know what? Maybe Guitar Hero on PC could happen, but in my mind, I find it to be less than 15% of a chance. Like 10%, yeah, sure. No more than 15 though. Like, no way in hell. That leads me to the next one. Characters, venues, and customization. So, I do think that, again, they try to lean into Guitar Hero 3, and they do some corny ass storyline for the career, right? Where it's like lose back, and then they use lose revenge for the song or something. I'm not super familiar with the song, but I know it exists. And maybe they could do something with that. You have your 5 sets with unlockable tunes. Actually, no. I don't think they'll do unlockable tunes because, again, 10-second attention span, instant gratification that people need nowadays. If you lock any songs behind an unlock system, I don't think that's going to go well. I could be wrong. Maybe. It needs to be bigger than the standard rags and rich response scheme. Exactly. Like, people sit there and they're like, oh, battle passes, oh, this. Oh, I hate microtransactions. Like, motherfucker, you understand that microtransactions exist because of harmonics, right? Like, DLC was a big motherfucker. Like, I think each individual song was what, Luke, $2, right? $2 or $3, something like that. Like, it was 160 Microsoft points, which I think was $2 or $3. And then you get onto the chat packs, like those, everybody screams horse armor from fucking Oblivion. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, Guitar Hero and Rock. Yeah, no unlock by point. Okay, no unlock by point. Everything needs to be unlocked from the get-go for quick play, right? I do think it would be a good idea to still have a traditional career system, right? You go through there, you're playing songs, you unlock them in career. That attributes to a career total score. I did find that to be very enjoyable way back when, to play everything in career. And then you get achievements for 75 million, 125 million. But for the love of Christ, make that score go to quick play as well, for fuck's sake. Play certain songs, genre, unlock more of the genre. That, well, no. I think, the idea in theory is good. That would alienate, or it only make people like, oh, I only like metal, so they're only gonna play metal. You want to play everything, right? Because that's another thing, music discovery. That's what Guitar Hero was for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people's like entire taste in music were formed by these games. So, what can help with that? Well, I think in terms of a gameplay situation, right? Maybe you're playing something and you're like, hey, I like this. Depending on which way they go for music distribution, for DLC and all that kind of stuff, maybe do a team up with Spotify, right? Maybe you team up with Spotify and you do a thing where you can link your Spotify account to your Guitar Hero account. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You okay? Connect your Spotify account with your Guitar Hero account, and then whenever you play it, you could do like in Guitar Hero TV, where when you play a song and it's done, like you're playing it on the channel where it just like does its own thing. You play the channel, or you play the song on the channel, and if you like it, you press the button and it adds it to your favorites, like something like that. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. The unlocking would be for career mode. I got you. I think. Well, then that mean each chapter would be tiered by genre, which I think, didn't they try to do that in World Tour? It was one of the games, right? I could be wrong. Does Metal Career Mode play different than Indie? Well, yeah, but then you would need enough songs for each career mode to be filled with that genre, which means each genre more or less would need about 30 to 40 songs. That's a lot. Like War. Oh, GH War, that's what it was. Yeah. It's really doable. Yeah, but I'll say this. Man. I didn't care much for GH War's story mode, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is just me. I prefer how GH3 did it. Where it was by difficulty, right? Like, instead of, you know, I know what you mean, you know what I mean. Maybe that's what they go with. But for the love of Christ, stay away from what they did in Warriors of Rot. Yeah. Like the power-ups, no. make it back to earth, boots on the ground, guerrilla style. You start a band, right? You go through, they have some kind of story element. You go this, that, and the other thing. Like here, imagine if you mix Guitar Hero 3 with Rock Band 1 style story, right? You have your band, you start low, and then you go on tour, right? But then instead of having the endless amount of, get this many stars, go on here, like you have a fucking set list, right? And you play it, and then you do good, and there it is, right? You do it a song at a time. Like you build the set list, and then you do each song back to back, bop bop bop, with the action to pop out if you want to. And it moves on, and then you can do like side gigs to earn more money within that chapter, right? Where you can do like DLC songs or bonus songs, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I really need to sit down and get these these thoughts out on paper, man. I'm gonna have to go through and highlight all of this, because if I don't, I'm gonna forget.